What's up, everybody? Alex here. Welcome back to another video, and welcome to a long overdue video, vinyl finds, new stuff, etc. So glad you're here. But this video, I'm going to show a lot of stuff that is sort of going to be titled my November haul. Specifically, I want to talk about Noble Records. A lot of people know Noble Records, especially people in the YouTube world. I made a stop there down in Matthews, North Carolina, right outside of Charlotte. I got some VCLT from Japan from my good buddy Peter over at Music is a Journey, which I'll get to those records here. And then I kind of got like a bunch of records for $1. So this isn't everything I got in November, although part of me wishes it was because I spent a lot of money in November. You know, it's like retail therapy when like everything else goes wrong. So I would like to get to that. So let's jump in. Sorry, no beer today quite. Today's episode is not, of course, not sponsored by the great authentic Mexican restaurant that is Taco Bell, but it is root beer. I have to travel for work tomorrow, so I'm not trying to cook nothing. Anyway, let's jump in. So I feel like a jerk now because my actual first stop was at a record store, in a really good record store in Greenville, South Carolina. And I'll put it at the bottom of this video because I feel really bad about forgetting the name, but I didn't want to stop the video and do all that type of stuff. But I was in there because I was in Greenville for work, traveling about whatever it was, a month ago or so. And I was looking. I just, I had some stuff I could buy, but I wanted to buy something. I never go into a store. I have to walk out with something, even if it's like $1 record or something like that. But I saw this up in their box set sort of section, and it is a box set, but I've been looking for this for years, honestly. I am not the biggest fan of this band because I think most of this band's discography is punk. I'm not really a punk guy. But by this record, and for those experts out there, by this record, they sort of went more, alternative power pop. And I love power pop. And there's a couple of tracks on here that I absolutely love. And it was on my wish list. There was a couple times I almost bought it off Discogs. Every time I went to any record store, it was always gone, sold out of print online, all that type of stuff. But I saw the box set reissue that Rhino did for a good price. And of course I picked it up, and that is the Pleased to Meet Me from The Replacements, 1987. So 1987, this was reissued as sort of a box set, I think a few years ago, 2020, that includes, I guess it's an LP of Pleased to Meet Me, the rough mixes, okay? And then 3 CDs of demos, outtakes, all those different things going on. So a box set in the sense of it's like 1 LP, 3 CDs. I know, they do these box sets. I know they just did it with Tim, I think it's called. Again, I'm not a huge Replacements fan, but I love this album because of the songs. Alex Chilton, huge Alex Chilton fan. And then, of course, Can't Hardly Wait, which is one of my favorite songs of all time. And that probably is coming across like for people who love the Replacements are like, oh, of course you like those songs, Alex. But I absolutely love the songs. So I had been looking for this forever, and I was so happy to finally have it on physical media, even if it meant I had to have 3 CDs that I was probably never going to listen to because I don't have even a CD player. And so, yes, but how does it work? People who are collectors, you know exactly how this works. You look for something forever. You find the thing, and you're like, yes, here we go. The very next day, I drove up to Charlotte, North Carolina, which is essentially where Noble Records is. They're right on the outskirts of Charlotte, North Carolina. And I'm thumbing through the bins. And of course, like, the second record I see was an original 1987 Pleased to Meet Me. So obviously, I bought it. My goal is to sell that one. So if people are interested, you want a good deal on it, if you want that, more than happy, we can make that deal. So I don't plan on keeping both of these. I'd prefer to have the original. It means more to me, all that type of stuff. But of course, this is exactly how it works. You look for something for 3 or 4 years, you can't find it anywhere, and then you go to 2 places and they have them back to back, right? That is how this works. But happy to have the original here. Pleased to Meet Me, as well as the box set. But again, I plan on getting rid of that. So if there's anybody out there who wants it, let me know, and we'll make a deal. The next thing I got from Noble Records, I saw this and I was like, ooh, that is dope. And that is an original UK copy of The Move's third album, Looking On, their first with Jeff Lynne. So if you don't know, the Electric Light Orchestra sort of formed out of the ashes, per se, of The Move. By this point, The Move was really led, and it was sort of co-led, I guess, by Roy Wood and Jeff Lynne, who would, of course, then go on, and Bev Evan, who would then go on to form the Electric Light Orchestra, and the rest is history. But this is hard rock, this is a little proggy, this is psychedelic, like this is not, Mr. Blue Sky, if you will. But I thought this was the coolest thing to see an original, I think 1970, this record came out, an original UK first pressing on Fly Records, which is really cool. This was the first on Fly, so it's actually catalog Fly 1, which is awesome. So yeah, The Move, Looking On, super cool record. Now, if you don't know Noble Records, amazing record store, but also for years, Dillon has been doing Noble Records exclusives, right? Where he will partner with another label and he will do store exclusives, color variants, that type of stuff. But recently, he's actually formed his own label. So now Noble Records is a label, and he's getting into sort of the reissue game with some long lost, hard rock, psychedelic bands, or even some newer bands. Now, I'm going to show this first. I bought this because this was the first record he released on his label, Underground Fire. This is a band, cool band from Monroe, North Carolina, down by where he's from. And so I bought this a few months ago because this is the first one that he released. Now, I saw these, and these are like, you can only get these in store. And so I was like, man, I gotta have those. And what I appreciate is just like the, it's like the throwback to old school record dealing, right? Like if you're gonna do records, do promos or do test pressings, right? Do those cool things. So I had the Underground Fire, but I had to get the Underground Fire test pressing. Yeah, how cool is this? I mean, they went all the way with this, with the timing strip, test pressing. They've got like a little sticker back there that says like for promotion only. I just think that's the coolest thing. So again, I don't plan on keeping this one. If anybody's interested in this, let me know. I'm more than happy to make a deal with you. But this is the cool, I just thought that was the coolest thing, is to have a test pressing of it. And with that, I think this just recently got released. I want to say like within the last week. And that is the latest issue from him, Dry Water. This is some old school, I think early mid 70s hard rock kind of proggy stuff. This was significantly more up my alley than Underground Fire was. I absolutely love this stuff for sure. But again, same way, timing strip, test pressing, promo sticker, went all out. So yeah, I thought these are the coolest things, and yeah, awesome. So I keep thumbing through, and I'm just like catching, I'm like, counting my coins. I'm like, Jesus, this is gonna kill you. And I saw this record. This is one of my favorite progressive rock bands, but they have a huge discography, and their vinyl is typically expensive, especially from, like the non-vinyl era. But this had a good price on it, and it was one that I wanted. I still have to keep on like picking up more. And that is This Strange Engine from Marillion. Marillion neo-prog band. This is a record though that came out in 1997, which was kind of an interesting time for them because they're coming off of, Brave, which was, an amazing record that kind of got them moving in the right direction after some less than amazing stuff with Holidays in Eden or whatever. And then they're kind of going into like the progressive, whatever you were doing in the mid to late 90s. This might be the last really great record they did for a little bit. They got like Marillion.com and Anarachnophobia and stuff like that after this. But I really like this record. Specifically, it's got what's become, I think, one of their most well-respected tunes, Estonia, on it. Big, beautiful, melancholy, epic that is about the sinking of the MS Estonia back in 1994. I think the story is Steve Hogarth, the singer of this band, met the lone British survivor who was actually on that cruise ship, met him on an airplane or something, and he was sharing the story, and it just moved him to write this song. This sounds terrible. I am like a sucker for like disasters. I know that's like, no, like they're terrible. Like people die, people get hurt. Like I am sorry. I'm a horrible person. I know that. But like, I fuck with a disaster. And maritime disasters, like Titanic and shit. Okay, cool. But this was wild. I mean, this was like Again, 1994, this was the Baltic Sea. Morton, if you're watching, or anybody up there who's familiar with the geography up there, I think they were traveling. It might have been from Estonia to Sweden, maybe. At any rate, sank in the Baltic Sea. 800, 900 people died. And they wrote a song about it. I don't know. That's the shit I'm into. So yeah, This Strange Engine, 1997. The Marillion, search continues for all their other ones, but really glad to have this one. So those were all of the banger, certain amount of money things. All these now were $5. So there was a great section he had of some $5 hollers, and I'm glad to grab these. Another progressive rock band. This is sort of known as, critics called these guys the Poor Moody Blues. They actually ended up writing a song about that years later, sort of making fun of it, but I love this band, and that is Barclay James Harvest. This is Barclay James Harvest and Other Stories. I think this is maybe their second or third record on Sire. But yeah, if you're into what I would say non-pretentious progressive rock, right? Like, this does not sound like Emerson, Lake and Palmer. This does not sound like King Crimson. This is significantly more based in vocal harmonies, songwriting, song composition, orchestration, that type of stuff. And that's why I love Barclay James Harvest. The records are pretty cheap. You can find them most places for $5 to $10 or whatever. And so this was an early one I wanted to pick up again for $5, and I am happy I did. This is an artist that some of his stuff I see and it's like $20, and other times I see it in dollar bins. And I love this artist. And this was another 2-record set that he was releasing sort of in his heyday, and that is Todd Rundgren's Todd. Yeah, again, between this and Something Anything, he was doing a number of these double albums at the time where he was playing a lot of, if not most of if not all of the instruments, all that different stuff. But 1974, I don't want to say you know what you get with Todd, because it's different every time, but also you kind of know what you get with Todd. And I think, to me, he is one of the most well-respected musicians. I think I don't throw around the term genius very much. I don't know if he is, but I think if you combine his musicianship across many instruments, his production, his songwriting, his knowledge, all of that, I think he fits right there within that category. So Todd Rundgren and Todd, $5. And the last $5 hitter, probably my favorite Canadian, just straight up Canadian guitarist, right? So, if you want to talk about Canadian guitarists, maybe you want to talk about, Alex Lifeson or Rick Emmett, but I'm talking about this guy is a guitarist. And I've been looking for this for a little while, but it's Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush Live. I mean, this is just an absolute burner. 1978, the heyday of Frank Marino with Mahogany Rush. It's hard rock, it's bluesy, it's psychedelic. He is just absolutely ripping on here. And this is just a burner of a record for, again, $5. I absolutely love Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush, especially of this era. Excuse me. And again, he's just ripping. So we are all in on that. So that was the Noble Records haul. Now, let's fast forward to some VCLT that I got from Peter over at Music as a Journey. So Peter had one, sorry, I got a little tickle. Must be in Chalupa, I don't know, man. Peter over at Music as a Journey. One of my favorite people ever. One of my favorite channels, but just seems like just a genuine, kind-hearted human being, which we need more of. But he had won a contest that I hosted a while ago. And he won a contest, so I sent him some Amazon bucks, right? And he was just so thankful. He's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this." And I was like, "No, man, you won the contest. You participated, you won." And we started emailing back and forth, and it was kind of like this thing of I wonder if we could work something out where he could send me something. He lives in Japan. He's lived there for the past 20 or 25 years or something. And I was like, I don't have any Japanese pressings. I would love some Japanese albums, right? How cool is that? So we went back and forth, talked about some options. He was going to some stores in his area, and we worked something out where he sent me 4 albums, and I'm so jacked on these. I just think they're the coolest thing. So first thing I'm going to show is for the 80s rock fans, but also maybe the UFO fans. It is the 4th from Michael Schenker Group, Built to Destroy. 1983 on this one. So, of course, Michael Schenker is coming from UFO. He leaves UFO in the late 70s, starts his own Michael Schenker group. One of the most well-respected guitarists. I mean, he was like 15 or 16 on that first Scorpions record that he's on. I share the story on my channel sometimes. When I was in high school, I was in a band, and we got a chance to open up for the Michael Schenker group back in 2008 or so at an old club in Cleveland, Ohio called Peabody's. Which was just like the coolest thing for like an 18 or 19-year-old to be opening up for Michael Schenker. But yeah, I mean, just an incredible guitarist. This is sort of the sweet spot here, coming off Assault Attack, moving in through the 80s. A great band on here. I think Gary Barden's still singing on here. Ted McKenna, I think, might be playing as well. But yeah, just an amazing record, cool stuff. And this is cool coming from Japan because the Japan and UK release had a different track listing than the US release, which is sort of cool. Now we're getting into some really cool stuff that, you know, is associated with Japan, really. And this is twofold. A, it's got a dope obi. And B, it is one of the flagship sort of Japanese 80s heavy metal band, and that is the first record from Earthshaker. So I'm not expecting a ton of people to know about Earthshaker unless you are like a metal fan. But coming out of Japan, there were a number of heavy metal bands that, I mean, essentially like sounded like an American heavy metal band from the 80s, right? Like they fit right in that sort of like hair metal style, like ripping guitars, like great solos, big harmonies, big hair, right? Like they fit right into that mold. And I would say, you know, the three to me that, you know, I'm not going to say that they were the best or whatever, but to me sort of represent the sound the most would be Earthshaker. This is their first record. I think this was 1983. This came out, Earthshaker. This next one, Anthem, which this is also super cool. I think this was their first record as well, maybe 85 on this one, on King. Anthem, and then Loudness, right? Like those to me are the three, and I have a Loudness record, so it's kind of cool I have like a record now of these three Japanese heavy metal giants. So yeah, really cool to have Anthem and Earthshaker. If you're a metal fan out there and you know these guys, you know they're freaking awesome. They just play the hell out of the guitars and sing great. Yeah, really, really dope stuff. And last, and this is for the Beatles nerds out there, this is the coolest thing. It is the Beatles Beat. So I think this was a reissue in the maybe early 70s of a 60s record or something. I mean, you know how the Beatles are. But this was Toshiba EMI. It might have been one of those Odeon labels. Yeah, this is cool. Just kind of a comp of some of their early stuff on here of their Beat period, obviously. But again, with the Obi and all that kind of stuff, it is just really cool. So happy to have that. Okay, so again, thank you, Peter. That you're just awesome. Thank you so much. These meant the world to me, and I'm having so much fun with them. So thank you, sincerely. Okay, these last ones were all $1. I've listened to most of these, and most of them are pretty good. This was one of those I came across these records, and they were fucking smoked. Like they looked like someone had just like shat on them. Which of course for people like me, I'm like, oh, run it through the spin clean. It's gonna be great, you know? And you take a risk, right? You're taking a risk being like, do I want this record for $1 if it's gonna be awful, right? And my thing is I can deal with noise. I can deal with clicks, pops, hisses, shits, giggles. I can deal with all of that. I don't do well with skips, and with the repeating click, the stuck groove. I don't do that where it starts over after 3 seconds or whatever and clicks on that same locked groove. So if it does that, usually I throw it in a box and try to get rid of it. But I've listened to most of these, and none of them have that, and some of them play really well. So again, all these were $1. The first number of these are jazz records. So if you're not a jazz person, you know what? Even if you're not a jazz person, listen. You're watching for a reason. It's a 20-minute video already. That's why you're here. So first, one of my favorite trumpeters ever, and this is sort of in his like soul funk jazz, early 70s Blue Note period, Donald Byrd with Blackbird, 1973. This played extremely well. Again, there's some writing on the cover. The sleeve's in good shape. It's on that classic kind of Blue Note with the dark Blue Note label. And yeah, for $1, shit, you gotta be kidding me. This was awesome. I love this player, and I was really interested to see how this would come across because he is more known as like a free spiritual jazz sax player who's out there squeak squonking, bebopping. We just lost him a couple of years ago, but this was a release in the later 70s, I believe 1977, on the Arista label. Of course, at that time being run by Clive Davis, coming from Columbia Records. And it is Love Will Find a Way from Pharoah Sanders. This is like a R&B record. I mean, yeah, it's jazz, but it sounds like 1977. Again, this actually played really well. I'm finding a lot of times, it's just hard to say. Like, these records all looked bad, and you just take a risk with them. But again, for $1, sleeve was in great shape for me. No writing or anything on this one. It actually played really, really well. A cool record. This was really cool. I will say, Chalupa Tickle. I will say, this guy has some sound to it, but I don't care. To me, it's like, this is like a relic, and this is technically the last recording he had before he died, and that is Kulu Simama from John Coltrane, 1966-ish, something like that, on Impulse. Now, this is not an original first Impulse. This is a, in the 70s when they were reissuing Impulse, they were on ABC, so the original Impulse labels that you'll see on those originals are like all orange, and then those 70s reissues have that sort of red ring with the Impulse ABC logo. But still, really cool to have this for $1. No skips, no locked grooves. It's got some noise on it, but you know what, man? Sometimes it's just what gets you off, man. Ew, that sounded weird. Anyway, super cool record for $1. This is gonna be in like jazz fusion, punk, yeah, right? Jazz fusion, more like funk jazz, and that is John Patitucci with On the Corner. Chick Corea is on here, Michael Brecker is on here, Al Foster, Dave Weckl, Alex Acuna, Vinny Colaiuta. An amazing sort of lineup here of a whole bunch of people. This came out in 1989 on this label of, I don't know what this is. This is like GRP. I think it's the GRP label. I've got some, so like Chick Corea's Electric Band was on this label. It's like later 80s stuff. That's a little bit Fusacky, but still burns. Yeah, I don't know. This was dope. I loved this. So, yeah, John Patitucci, On the Corner, 1989. How about this one? We'll take a break from the jazz stuff for a second before we get back into more jazz stuff. This was a fun one. I had kind of been looking for this, because this is one of the coolest covers ever, and just the story is cool. But obviously after Alice Cooper left the Alice Cooper Band and did his own thing back in 75 with Welcome to My Nightmare, what did the rest of his Alice Cooper Band do? Well, a lot of them did a project called $1 Billion Babies with this record, Battle Axe. What a great cover that is, huh? Very cool. Yeah, so Michael Bruce is on here, Dennis Dunaway is on here. It's good stuff. It's not, by no means is this, Love It to Death or Killers or anything like that, but a cool record, cool story nonetheless, about what the band was doing at the time. And again, that cover is just something else. How about this one for $1? The original cover of Miles Davis and Jack Johnson, arguably my favorite Miles Davis record. It really is a rock record with some jazz influences. Cover is pretty messy, a lot of some damage here too, but again, I mean, this is, in the condition it's in, it's not worth $30 or $40, obviously, but still really cool. Again, for $1, heck yeah, I'm into it. I have this album, I have a number of them, but usually when I see this band, I pick it up as long as they're not completely trashed, and it's always good to have another copy of Let It Be. So if anybody needs a copy of Let It Be out there, I'll check that condition for you and we'll work something out. But yeah, Let It Be. This was a cool, I had never heard of this, had to look it up. The Last Poets, This Is Madness. Sounds like they were like an East Coast sort of funk, soul, spoken word, kind of like proto-hip-hop type band. On the Douglas 7 label? Yeah, This Is Madness, Douglas 7. I don't know when this was, 70-something. Regardless, I thought that was the coolest cover. This is pretty ripped apart, but I thought this was a badass cover and won that for $1. How about this? How about Herbie Hancock, Future Shock? Of course, everybody knows this from Rocket. Bill Laswell on bass on here. Yeah, this is what blew Herbie up again in this era with his reliance on technology. Everybody knows Rocket, Future Shock, great record. Here's a cool one here too. Another Pharoah Sanders, Themby. Again, it's on that Impulse ABC label, so not that original Impulse label. That's okay. And again, sleeves in pretty good shape, minus whoever Lester Jordan is. Thanks, guy. But yeah, Roy Haynes is on here. Cecil McBee's on here. Lonnie Liston Smith. You know, amazing stuff. I think this was just reissued. Maybe by request might have just done this one. But yeah, for $1. Whew, all right now. Lonnie Liston Smith, man. He's just dope as hell. This is not an overly expensive record. It's on RCA. But getting him live, I love Lonnie Liston Smith. Great stuff. Okay, that's a lot. That's it for the jazz stuff. You're welcome. How about this? This is one of those artists, a comp just goes a long way. This was a Canadian comp, actually, but it's the Rod Stewart Collection. Double album, all his great stuff. Anything from Stay With Me, some of the stuff he was doing with the Faces, Maggie May, Every Picture Tells a Story, just so much good stuff on here. Gasoline Alley. So it really is his early stuff before he was getting into the 80s, you know, stuff about, you know, If You Think I'm Sexy and all that kind of stuff. So one of my favorites is his version of Reason to Believe. I absolutely love that song. So yeah, I thought that was a really cool snag for $1, because I love Rod Stewart, right? Grab this too. I have a copy, but again, it's good stuff. The record was in great shape. Court and Spark from Joni Mitchell. Another cool copy of that. Feeling good about it. Forgot to pick this up. Stereo version of Surrealistic Pillow. Again, have this record, but saw it, looked good. It was $1. Why isn't I'll pick it up again? These two are kind of a little bit more of a twofer. As I said before, here's your callback. Big Alex Chilton fan. Love, obviously, Big Star is one of my favorite bands of all time. Just love Alex Chilton, but before he had Big Star, he had the box tops. And so very, very different than what Big Star was, but it's still cool to kind of get, you know, his start in here. So this was Cry Like a Baby, 1968 or 9 maybe. This is, I think, their second record. And then just a comp, super hits. I'm good with that. So add that to the box tops / Alex Chilton collection. How about another copy of Regatta de Blanc from The Police? Again, it was $1, looked in great shape, you know what I mean? Grabbed it, so if people are interested, let me know. And then I do have a couple of copies of this already. Maybe this finds its way because people don't like this record. I love this record. And that's the Final Cut. I love the Final Cut. Where does it fall on my list? You know, I don't love it as much as Dark Side, but I probably like it more than Momentary Lapse of Reason. But yeah, Final Cut, again, it was $1. It's in good shape, you know, clean sleeve. I mean, usually get some ring wear on there, but it looks pretty good to me. So yeah, there you go. Okay, rolling in at 27 minutes and 52 seconds. Sweet Lord, thank you for watching. Thank you again, Peter. Again, it's Peter over at Music as a Journey. Amazing human, amazing channel. Just thanks from the bottom of my cold, broken heart. And yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. And yeah, be good, take care. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers, y'all. Bye.